Hello and welcome to the final table of PokerStars Championship Sochi. In seat 1 from Iran with 2,124,000 in chips, we have Sayed Gavam. In seat 2 from Russia with 1,791,000 in chips, Vladimir Trayanovsky. In seat 3 from Russia with 2,914,000 in chips, we have Pavel Shershikov. In seat 4 from Russia with 1,053,000 in chips, we have Dmitry Vidkind. In seat 5 from Kazakhstan with 2,949,000 in chips, we have Lavrenti Ni. And our final player in seat 6 from Russia with 783,000, we have Timur Bubnov. Congratulations on making it to the final table, players. I'd like to wish you all the very best of success. Dealer, shuffle and deal, please.
Action underway. Now we are playing an 80 big blind average. There may be just 6 players, but it could take a while until we crown a champion here in Sochi. A reminder, 26 minutes left at this level, and then we will roll straight into level 24 when the blinds go to 1530 with a 5k ante. And Joe, it would only be at the end of the next level in roughly 2 hours' time that we would be at a 50 big blind average.
It's alright, you know, there's always a cooler. I like these guys being deep. Other than Vlad Troyanovsky, none of these guys has ever played for this kind of money before, so let's give them some play.
So first hand of the 6-handed final table. Action on Pavel Shershikov. He folds under the gun. Dmitry Vidkind is out. Chip leader, Lavrenti Ni.
When do we get the hold cards?
Don't worry, you'll see him when players act. Let's have a look at Timur Bubnov. He has ace-5 on the button. He folds.
Interesting.
So round to the blinds. Sayed Gavam in the small blind. He's got deuces. Gavam is an amateur player who runs a sports book. Makes trips to Cyprus to play cash games. Currently ranked 19th on Iran's all-time money list.
And he's got a sweet-ass ponytail.
Well, that is a limp from Gavam. Vladimir Troyanovsky, probably the best known player at this final table. He is ranked 6th in the Russian all-time money list. He's had 11 six-figure results. The high roller from St. Petersburg raises with ace-9 of diamonds, makes it 80,000 total.
Looks like a genius fold by Bubov at this point.
Gavam calls. Chip denominations on your screen. The yellows are the smallest chips in play. They're 1Ks. Blues are 5K. Green chips, 25K. 986. Top for Troyanovsky. And it's that classic situation where any flop that doesn't have a deuce on it is pretty much a bad board for deuces.
It's a bad board for deuces, but I know it doesn't really matter, but you're like, well, it's not that big. Maybe deuces are good. Set of deuces is probably still good.
Now, we've referenced a few times over the week, Joe, that what was the feature table and is now the final table is being played on the stage in the theatre at the Sochi Casino and Resort. And great to see that people are making use of the seats in the theatre today. There's a decent audience that's come to rail this final table.
Cool. Yeah, Goblin's going to peel once, see if he can get to cheap showdown, see if he can improve on the turn.
Check calls for 80k. 4 of spades is the turn card. Gavin checks a second time. Second barrel from Vlad.
Vlad, fresh off celebrating his 28th birthday here in Sochi this week.
215,000 into 344,000.
We know this would be the wrong time to call down, to get stationy. I do think a man who's kept a ponytail in this day and age, though, is probably a little stubborn. Likes to march to the beat of his own drummer. Won't be held to your conventions.
We've mentioned a few times over the course of the last few days that Garvam's only result on our tour was in Prague at the end of last year, where he finished 84th for 14,000 euros. He folds to the turn bet from Troinovsky, and Vlad will chip up here to 1.95 million, playing just over 80 big blinds.
Top pair, top kicker. Oh!
Top pair, top kicker.
Thank you, Duolingo.
Hello to Matt Ingham on Twitter. Hashtag PokerStarsTV if you want to get in touch. He says, good evening, gentlemen, because it is evening in Sydney. Hello to you wherever in the world you are watching. Hope you can be with us for as much of today as possible. Could be a long one, considering how deep these guys are, but you are going to get cards up action. You'll see every hand at this final table live. Well, strictly speaking, on a 40-minute delay.
Suited.
Dmitry Vitkind, first to act, and that is a raise. Now, Vitkind is a very accomplished player. Opening here with Ace-Jack of Spades. He cashed in 9 main events on the EPT.
Wow.
His top result being 4th in Tallinn in Season 7. That was worth 120,000 euros. Total live earnings, 1.56 million. Well, he's running to kings here. Garvam with the Cowboys on the button.
Clangers. 3-bet.
The re-raise is to 131,000. Now, Vitkind is the effective stack here, Joe. He's got 40 bigs behind. He's out of position. I hate being in this spot with Ace-Jack.
Well, and now all of a sudden I'm like, man, I wish I couldn't see the other hole cards. I think you can fold.
How much?
131.
Like, I don't know what Gavam's perception, you know, what his image is. I wouldn't pick him as a particularly, like, crazy player. This is a really bad flop, as we can see, for Vitkind.
Yeah, he called the 3-bet out of position. He improves to top pair, top kicker, but obviously Garvam is still a 4-1 favorite with the overpair.
Like, what's the best case scenario if you think a guy's, like, relatively normal, isn't gonna get too out of line, on the button, big 3x 3-bet? What's best case scenario? 10s?
Continuation bet from Garvam. 131,000 into 322,000.
What do you do? I mean, you can't fold now. How do you ever get away from this? Call. Soul read, fold. You got all your chips in the middle at that point.
The 7 on the turn changes nothing. Garvam now a 9-1 favorite.
I think if you're Gavam, when you get called in that flop, I think you can be pretty confident in getting called again. Like, I don't know what raise, calling under the gun, and then calling a flop bet, and then folding turn, except for maybe, like, ace-king that decided to peel one time. You have to be a little bit worried, I guess, about jacks and aces.
$295,000. Vitkin has 783k behind. See, Garvin doesn't look like the kind of player who's going to get stubborn with a hand like Ace Queen or Ace King and be.
That's what I mean.
barreling.
He's just reeks of strength.
That said, it would be a phenomenal laydown to fold top here.
He can't really call is the problem. He's got like a half pot bet left behind if he calls.
Alan.
Wow. Vitkind check raises all in on the turn. Quick call from Garvin, and Vitkind's at risk. With just a 10% chance of survival. Wow. Did not expect this to escalate.
Что делать, не знаю. Бросать.
I mean, once that flop hits, I think that's it.
This has got to be the biggest pot of the tournament so far. 2.1 million. Oh, an ace on the
man.
river.
How in the world? Yeah, that's the appropriate face.
А ты хотел бросать.
That's the right amount of embarrassment. Look at
Wow.
that, just turn those kings over.
4 outs and he hits one of them.
Тут на риве.
And Vitkind is now third in chips, playing close to 90 big blinds. Garvin dropped below 40.
Yeah, make sure we're in nice and tight for when he pukes on the table. Poor guy.
Что делать? Фишки
I feel
складывать.
terrible. God, I hate suckouts. I really do.
Радоваться жизни.
183.
Что первый твой алын в турнире?
Да.
Да? У меня тоже в алынах. Ни
I'm
разу.
gonna pour some out for my homie right here. Sad Gavam.
Стоял под водой.
So that's how things stand after just 2 hands.
Nice.
Huge pot. The biggest of the tournament so far played between Garvin and Vitkind. All in on the turn. Top against the overpair. The ace on the river sees Garvin knocked back to below $1 million.
Будешь собирать трясущимися руками сейчас. Минут 20.
And Vitkind now third in chips.
Если я поставил, я был готов уже шестым бросить. Потому что
Главное, вовремя встал.
помнил твои слова, что типа пейджампы маленькие.
Конечно, маленький.
Че сидеть?
So Danny asks on Twitter, hashtag PokerStarsTV, are you watching this for the very first time or do you already know what will happen because of the delay? We know nothing, Jon Snow, or in this instance, Danny H. We are seeing the action the same time you're seeing it, 40 minutes after it happened.
Давайте перерыв.
Можно было заколить и потом алын поставить. Двери.
I was fully expecting to lose a player there. I was thinking, wow, are we already going to be down to 5?
I thought so too. I was like, hell, there goes that average.
Что за как?
C10 pass.
And we've seen an under-the-gun raise here from chip leader Lavrenti Ni. Ace 8.
Vlad, folded an ace on the button to an under the gun raise.
So we've mentioned that Ni is from Kazakhstan. His previous live cashes total just over $50,000, so he's guaranteed to more than double his lifetime earnings. More than triple them, in fact, with a score here in Sochi. It's Vitkind who defends his big blind.
And why not?
It's an ace, queen, deuce, flop. Top pair for Ni. No doubt he'll continue now that Vitkind has checked the action to him.
How's he gonna get there this time? 8-10?
I'm not sure he's going to call the C-bet.
C3. Bet 20 or 40,000.
40,000
6 pass.
gets the job done. So 13 minutes on this level, then we'll roll straight into level 24. Blinds will be going to 1530 with a 5k ante.
Хороший был. бы не стал бы сейчас играть.
Тимур, ты уже приятное шуршание почти 2 миллионов.
He moves
Ощутил,
over
буду
the
стоить.
3 million mark. Meanwhile, Ruben tweets,
Просто тебя
Garvin,
обыграли. Шоумен по
more like
сочинскому рынку.
Garvin after that hand.
That was good.
И не только тебя.
Я не расстроен.
Punisher points out that it is an awesome start to the day. Let's hope for more of the same. We want drama, people.
Sit 10 pass. 1 pass.
Меня, а может и не меня.
Кого-то точно.
Jack 10 for Troianovsky.
Really excited to have a whole day of seeing Vladimir Troianovsky's hole cards. I just have a ton of respect for him as a player, and I think there's a lot to be learned from watching this guy, especially having watched him all week prior to this. We sort of get like an ending to that story.
Yeah, the last time we saw Vlad play cards up was in the Bahamas in 2016 when he made the main event final table. Walked away with a 5th place finish in that event. Now, Shershikov has got ace-8 on the button, and that looks like a 3-bet.
Kind of an interesting hand to 3-bet. You don't really see people 3-bet middle range hands like this that often. You know, you see him do it with bad hands or, you know, speculative hands on the button or good hands. Now Knee is in a weird spot. Ace Queen in the big blind.
Well, he's got all the chips, but let's not forget that Shershikov is the second biggest stack. Shershikov, by the way, was mainly an online grinder before transitioning to live cash games here in Sochi, planning to travel around Europe after the PokerStars Championship wraps up here.
So does he play it safe here with Ace Queen and just sort of take a flop, or does he look at the dynamic here and think that this could be a light 3-bet from Shershikov? Knowing Troianovsky could be opening fairly light in late position.
Well, I am ready on the buttons just in case Nee decides to get aggressive here and cold 4-bet his ace queen.
It's looking like you're going to need it. Can I get a 4-bet alert? On standby, please. 4-bet alert.
Ну, вот куда полез. Читать не
That
умею.
is 411,000. Well, Troianovsky's getting out of the way, that's for sure. Question is, well, it's a pretty easy fold, I guess, for Shershikov, but he's got to make it look good.
I mean, he's already turned ace-8 into a bluff. He could turn it into a bluff again.
Ты видишь,
Good
земляка
move.
Шоумен. Подработать.
And Lavrenti Nee increases his chip lead up to 3.3 million, near enough. 135 big blinds.
С другой стороны, глупо делать сейчас перерыв, только сели. Еще одна.
Pleased to say that we have resolved the technical problems. We are now streaming once again at PokerStars.tv. But obviously you're welcome to continue watching on the PokerStars YouTube channel or at twitch.tv/PokerStars.
Hello, my babies on Twitch.
55. 6 pass.
Shershikov raising under the gun here with 8-9 of clubs. Makes it 55,000.
He seems pretty intent on playing hands, huh? I wonder if he's been like this the whole time.
Bubnov has folded the button. Garvin with ace-queen.
Starts the hand with 35 big blinds.
Последним бравом был.
Just a call from Garvin in the small. Troianovsky in the big. Queen 10.
Че не поехал?
He'll call as well, and we're going three-way to the flop.
По-другому все играл.
Gotham decides to play it safe. He is out of position.
Interesting board. Jack 10-4 with 2 diamonds. So the up and down draw for Shershikov, the pre-flop aggressor. Second pair for Vlad. The gut shot for Garvam.
I like this.
Gets checked around. 7 of hearts doesn't change anything. Actually, it does.
7,
of
8,
course.
9,
It gives,
10. Yeah.
it gives Shershikov the straight.
Recheck.
Now, obviously, Troianovsky is drawing dead. Garvam, of course, could improve to Broadway.
I wonder why Shershikov didn't continue the flop. Seems like a perfect spot to continue. Maybe you win it.
C5 bet.
Then there's more money in the pot when you make your straight.
Well, he's decided to make a delayed C-bet of 120,000.
Oh, Shershikov's the soldier, right?
Yes, ex-military.
I guess we don't know if he's a soldier specifically, but he was in the military.
One pass.
To be fair, I think it was military service. I don't think it was necessarily a career decision.
Got it.
Well, Garvam has folded his draw. Troianovsky, who we know is drawing dead, does have a piece of this board. What do you think about Dennis's comment on Twitter? Garvam don't fold. I don't know if that was in specific reference to this street, but would you be tempted to call with the 2 overs and a gut shot in this spot?
No. I don't think. Yes, tempted, yes. Would I do it? No. Vlad thinking of turning his hand into a bluff.
No, he checks. Well, the board got straightier with the 8 on the river, but
And diamond deer.
of course.
Obviously, when he thinks about betting there, he can't really value bet a pair of 10s. He's got one flush blocker. It looked like he was maybe going to try to turn into a bluff.
Well, here comes the value bet from Shershikov.
C5 bet. Please number.
300,000 into 429,000, so pretty chunky. Now, Vlad does have a bluff catcher.
Yeah, I mean, Shershikov, when he raises under the gun, isn't supposed to have that many 9s. Get him diamonds, of course, but Vlad does make the right decision. Again.
Shershikov still second in chips, but closes the gap between himself and Lavrentini. More than 120 big blinds for Pavel, 2.9 million.
Поставки по 4 было мое.
And one more hand to play at this blind level.
Что по 4?
Мое было потерно, видимо.
The clock ticking to level 24.
По телеку.
Это не потом, я думаю, узнаю через час.
Ну да.
Что такое было-то?
Waited all week for the cards up, Kafefe here.
2 девятки. Это... Я вообще думал 2 девятки.
Я тоже подумал, что
По
тут
4 им. По 5. Флеш закрылся.
У меня под-
Dmitry Vitkin first to act.
Флеш не боялся? Сейчас тебя лихаю.
He folds 8-7 off.
Может, у меня был флеш.
Да?
Может.
Nee, the chip leader, has Queen Deuce of Hearts. He won't play that. Round to our spin and go qualifier. Timur Bubnov hasn't played a hand yet. This one being no exception.
Десятки выбей, не было.
King 9 for Sayed Garvam.
This is one of those hands you're like, ugh, I guess I have to raise.
Sit one raise 51. Восьмой ребенок.
He's going to make it 51,000 from the button.
Слишком маленько.
Troinovsky folds King 6 in the small. Pavel Shershikov is in the big. He defends with Ace 10 of diamonds.
Just to defend, this hand's going to be under-repped a little bit.
Интересно, реально, по 4 было твое время?
Ну, поставки не могло не быть. Не могло не быть.
Second pair for
По
Shershikov.
4. Или блеф, как бы, на
Garvam with a gut shot.
а превращенный. Ну, чтобы
Sit 5 check.
нелепо.
It's been checked to the pre-flop aggressor.
Типа, король даму там, с королем губей там, прочека на этом.
Флоп же чек играет.
Да. Прочекал, вривел. Пошел бы.
7-9.
Sit one bet. 51.
Garvam c-betting his draw. 51,000.
Sit 5 check.
And Shershikov quickly calls. This hand going to the turn. Deuce of clubs. Well, it takes away Shershikov's backdoor draws, but he's still ahead with second pair top kicker. He's an 84% favourite.
5 check.
Checks. Let's Garvam take a stab. A second stab. Now he's picked up. He hasn't picked up anything.
No.
Picked up a draw for the board to pair deuces. I always have a hard time double barreling with nothing.
Semi-bluff the flop, but decides to check back the turn, which
Yeah.
takes us to the river. It is another 10. Shershikov now with trips. And you figure with the check back from Garvam on the turn, he might want to value bet this river. Even when we were in the last 16 players, we said that Shershikov was the most deliberate. I don't think he's an egregious tanker, but he does take more time over his decisions than almost everyone else at the table.
He also so far seems to be one of the most active players, so the more hands he's playing, times taking a little bit longer equals a lot more time being chewed up. What?
Wow.
Sit one call.
Wow, calls with king high. Maybe he has a bit of a reputation for being loose.
Garvam heroes with king high. I thought he might be about to try and bluff the river, but nope.
Не заходим.
Thought that he had a bluff catcher, but Shershikov was not bluffing.
Не получил.
And he's now up over 3 million chips, 3.1 million.
Рейс от тебя японец нужен.
And that means he's playing 104 big blinds at the new level. We are in level 24 now. 15,000, 30,000 with a 5,000 ante.
Ладно, что ж 30.
Я понимаю, но
You know, and what Garvam just did there is something that happens, I think, sometimes when you do suffer a really brutal suck out. You just kind of get desperate and get weird and want to get those chips back in unconventional and generally minus EV plays.
Well, look at that number, Joe. Garvam, after
Yeah.
that big hand against Vitkin, still had near enough 40 big blinds.
Как без
I appreciate we've gone up a level, but after that hand, he's now down to 20 big blinds. Needs to steady the ship, otherwise he will start dribbling into the danger zone.
кольнул на вообще
Да, есть такое.
C8 pass.
Тоже кажется.
So Bubnov no longer the low man at the table, playing 23 big blinds. He is, of course, the confectionery factory worker from Vladivostok. Had a long journey to get here to Sochi, but won his seat in a $10 spin and go on Stars. He's a big poker fan. He's been to the World Series a few times. And we could be seeing a lot more of him on the circuit. He's guaranteed
Raise 85.
a huge cash, a huge return on his investment. Guaranteed at least 6.5 million rubles.
The chip taker, candy bar maker.
Well, he's raised in early position with ace jack. It's round to Vitkind with queen 3 in the big blind. That's a fold.
I think you got to be perfectly happy with that.
Да, по буфету не погуляешь.
Real money implications for every pot that is played.
Всякие попытки посмотреть флоп.
Bubnov circling the 25 big blind mark right now.
Флоп смотреть страшно. Улы видите страшно, просто пас. Все.
Он Д5.
Опять история.
Вот еще чтобы поставить. Что-то выше среднего надо все-таки найти.
Да.
Еще же кол могут нажать.
Ну там мог быть на улын кол, а мог быть пас, правильно?
Но если пас, ты выигрываешь 100 тысяч, а если кол, то проигрываешь типа миллион. Как бы так, да? Не очень равновесно.
Bubnov now under the gun with another ace. This time ace deuce. Not going to play that. Garvam, keep it together. Ace 5 of clubs.
Sucks. 20 big blinds.
C1 raise. 62.
He's still got a stack where he can legitimately raise fold.
He can raise fold, but he's going to have to raise fold a lot, I think.
6 pass.
Let's see if this raise gets through. Just need to act in the big blind. Chip leader has so many towers of green. Ace 3.
See, I think you got to be really tempted to 3-bet this. You're out of position, and you know that Gavam's got to fold a lot of hands.
Wants to defend from knee. Hello to Tim Fisher on Twitter. Finally got my Apple TV streaming properly. Hello, my babies.
Hello, Tim.
It's a queen 8-6 flop with 2 clubs. This is all Garvam. Now, granted, 44% of the time this will be a chop. But I'm pretty sure if Garvam semi-bluffs his nut flush draw, knee will probably be done with it.
C1 bet. 62. C8 pass.
Continuation bet of 62,000. The fold there from knee. A good question from Matt Ingham on Twitter. A reminder, the hashtag is PokerStarsTV. Quick one, I often see a glimpse of the cards when marked. Not sure of the camera angle, but do players also see the same? Not a poker player myself, hence the naive question. It's not a naive question, Matt, it's a good one. You might just see the odd flash, but generally what players will say is if they see the card, they'll probably draw attention to it and say, I saw that card, or at least I saw what the suit was, or I saw what the rank of that card was. And then the dealer will remind the player who is folding to be a little bit more discreet when they muck their hand.
It's an awkward situation when you catch just a little piece of it, too. Now, one thing you've got going for you that the players don't is that the camera angles aren't exactly the same as the person's eye angles. So I do think sometimes we may catch some things that the human eye doesn't.
6 pass.
Well, this has been folded round to the blinds. Knee in the small with King Jack of diamonds. And he's going to raise small to big. The player in the big blind is the Vladivostokian Oompa Loompa, Timur Bubnov. Eight, 9.
You think he could have at least brought us all some candy?
It's a call from Bubnov.
Много.
So blind on blind,
В очках не
going to the flop.
Тут как раз освещение для очков, по-моему, вообще.
Pretty decent flop for Bubnov. Second pair, backdoor straight draw. Knee with 2 overs and backdoor diamonds.
Yeah, somehow with King Jack, you don't really hate this flop. I don't know why.
C8 bet.
Still a world of possibilities. A lot of interesting turns.
Oh, it's a bet of 85,000.
Bubnov, obviously, he's got to see one more.
C10 all in.
Bubnov decides to move
Wow.
all in.
This is wild.
On
Now-
this occasion, it's going to work. It's going to stop Knee from continuing in the hand.
Yeah,
but
he's done a good job of getting a hand with equity to fold out. I don't know how often you're going to get a better hand to fold, though. I don't think anyone can really fold a 10 there.
И с ума сойти.
Мгм.
10-9 иметь,
А почему с ума сойти?
что легко заплатить.
Sometimes you just want to protect, I guess.
Легко
Bubnov now playing more than 30 big blinds.
Ну и у нас как бы от запоте.
James Tall and Sour has written to me on Twitter to say, when face down, cards are considered to be in the hole, hence, hole cards.
Что-нибудь творческое, хотя тоже не факт.
But unfortunately, Tall and Sour,
Какой-то
I'm talking about the cards the players are holding.
Я верю.
So, you know, they'd say like Vlad Trinovsky held aces. It's the hold cards that we're talking about today.
Поэтому нет смысла обманывать.
Ну, можешь не добрать за то,
Just
что
let him have his
сидит
fun,
на
people.
полтора.
Конечно.
So this has been folded to the button. It's hand number 12 of the final table.
Не добрать.
Lavrenti Knee has
Можно не
Jack
добрать,
10.
бросить что-то, действительно. Нужно.
By the way, because he lost that hand to Bubnov, he's also lost the chip lead. Shershikov has edged ahead of him now.
8.
Nee!
C3.
So the raise is 63,000. 8-6 of diamonds for Bubnov. Don't get carried away, booby.
Yeah, I think he maybe's just getting a little impatient.
10 pass.
Good fold. And talking of impatience, Saeed Garvam looking to steady the ship, hovering around the 20 big blind mark. He is the low man at the table. Ace 10. He's got Knee dominated. Defends his big blind. Heads up to the flop.
Interesting defend against the chip leader with a button raise. I'd be tempted to get some more chips in the middle pre-flop.
Queen 10-7. So both players with second pair. Garvam's kicker best.
Творческие вообще. Все борды подряд творческие выходят.
I don't know if his goal is just to play a smaller pot and not go too crazy, or for the added deception value if you manage to hit top pair, your hand's pretty well disguised.
Continuation bet from Knee.
If only he knew what a great spot he were in.
Now, we always like to salute the work that our colleagues do on the PokerStarsBlog.com. Many talented writers working for that outlet, including Howard Swains, who's just tweeted a photograph of what he describes as a not at all sinister sight while trekking up a mountain in Russia. Check that out. Make sure you follow at Howard Swains on Twitter. Meanwhile, the ace on the turn sees Garvam improve to 2-pair. Knee does pick up a gut shot, but we can see has just 10% equity. Garvam checks a second time. This could be a check behind now for Knee. A little bit of pot control. Try to get a cheap showdown.
I feel like taking the lead and playing out of flow on that turn card is one way that you can approach things. I'd be a little tempted to do that when you pick up 2-pair. There's so many draws out there. There's a lot of action killing / bad river cards for you. Knees watch reminding him to bet the turn.
C8 bet.
Don't forget to bet the turn on hand number 12.
135,000, so Knee does not slow down.
And much to the same point that I was just saying about taking the lead here, you gotta consider a raise.
What's he got? 20 bigs?
Of course, you don't have the nuts. Of course, you know, it's possible you're up against a flush. You could be up against a straight. It's just not super likely. And just for, there's just so many river cards that you hate.
Garvin decides just to call.
Also, look, if you know that you're not going to get blown off your hand if a heart comes or the board pairs or another straight card comes and you know you're just going to station, then that's one way to play it.
See, this is a disappointing card for Garvin because he's now been counterfeited.
Yeah.
Still has the best hand, but...
You know, if he's just super confident that the ace is good and he's just going to play this passively and let his opponent bluff at it, and then I give him credit.
Now, I would certainly be checking behind here, but what is Nee going to do?
Big Alex on Twitch said a raise would be atrocious here. I assume he's talking about the turn.
I guess it's one of those spots where he's only going to get action from hands that have him absolutely crushed.
I don't necessarily agree, but that's, you know, assume what that fellow's saying. Yeah, check behind is in fact what happened. Take the showdown value.
And that's a good spot for Garvin. Back up over 30 big blinds. Edges ahead of Timur Bubnov at the final table. And Nee firmly in second place now behind Pavel Shershikov. And a reminder, should we get through the rest of this level without losing a player, we will still be coming back at level 25 with a 50 big blind average. And the reason for that is simple. Yesterday was just a little bit ridiculous. It took 4.5 hours, and actually a bit less than that when you factor in the breaks. It was probably closer to 3 hours 45 minutes. That's how long it took to lose 10 people.
Didn't the last 5 all happen in one level?
Yeah.
Also, like, I took a short break and the day was over.
It was insanely fast, and it's pretty much a game of mathematics. I know there's other factors as well, but that just denotes that there, with the number of chips in play, that the average stack is going to be bigger, and it means more play at the final table. If it speeds up at one point, it's going to slow down on another. But we're not complaining, because you want them to have lots of play when it matters, when the trophy and the big prize money is on the line. And I guess you guys would rather the long day be when we're cards up and you get to see every hand they're playing, like Vitkin with the sevens raising from the cutoff, seeing that Nee is calling on the button with king jack off.
Oh boy.
Ace king for Bubnov. Time to get squeezy.
Shortest stack. 28 big blinds.
It's a tough one because I feel a shove here would be a little bit excessive. Well, that's what he decides to do. Present this man with a triangle.
You said it though, it is tough. Like 28 big blinds, like a little too much to rip it in, but what else are you really gonna do?
The problem is, I don't really know what hands call you. But maybe that's what he wants, just 2 folds, pick up the blinds and the bets in there.
I think you're perfectly happy to win it without a call. I think pairs call you. I think you can flip, and I think that, you know, you can maybe get a call from ace queen, or maybe some joker with ace jack suited decides to look you up.
Поменьше на 4000. На 3.
2 folds, and Bubnov is now playing 35 big blinds. He's moved over the million mark. And once again, side Govern is the shortest stack at the table, but is not short stacked. He has 30 big blinds.
See, just to go back to the whole card, hold card debate,
We're still doing this, are we?
Naveed says it's Texas Hold'em, not Texas Hold'em. Thank you.
Wasn't Bubnov's flight here from Vladivostok something like 12 hours? He had
Yeah.
like some ridiculous 7,000-mile journey to get here.
It is a long-ass country.
And a reminder that he works in Vladivostok
Кричать попался.
as the chief engineer of a confectionery factory.
6 raise 70.
When it says he's chief engineer, do you think that means like he's the guy that's engineering the products? Like he's like, what if we took cotton candy and stuffed it with nougat? Or is he like the chief engineer as in like if a machine breaks down, he's got to fix it? Like if that really scary riverboat ride breaks down, like he's got to handle that?
Or the strange jalopy car that just spews foam everywhere.
Yeah. Or if a couple of people fly up into some fan blades because they're drinking that soda. So, you know, I gotta clean up poor kid guts again.
So Vitkin's raised with 8s, called by Vlad in the big blind with 4-3. A set for Vitkin, but kind of feel it's going to go to waste here. Unlikely to get any action.
Yeah, it's going to take one of those things where Vlad's like, decides to lose his mind, and he does not. That man does not lose his mind. He has his mind.
How do we feel about the lookalike suggested by Man Bear Pig on Twitter? Said Garvam and Al of Al's Toy Barn fame from Toy Story 2.
I'll allow it.
Саша там, наверное, обыкался уже.
For 10 points, Joe. Who is the voice of Al?
Люблю говорить в таких ситуациях.
Wayne Knight.
Жаль,
10 points to Joe Stapleton.
мысленно.
Hello, Newman.
Ты тоже знаешь, что значит лаховская?
Thank you to Steve Mark, who's been perusing Google Maps and has worked out that if Bubnov drove from his chocolate factory to Sochi, it would take him 5 days.
Oh, man.
Снеговики.
That's got to be 5 days straight, by the way. Like, not stopping, because to drive from New York to LA takes 5 days.
5 days and 7 hours. A 9,961 kilometer journey.
Yeah, that's if you're refueling literally while still moving.
Когда?
Vitkin, with his favorite hand, Ace Jack, opens under the gun to 70k. Garvin's on the button with Queen 10 of spades.
Oh, man, not again. Not again with the ace jack against Gotham.
Живее не сильно.
Vlad with a very playable hand. Decides to not play it out of position with a raise and a call.
Shershikov in the big blind, calls with Queen 10 of diamonds, and we have a three-way party.
I have a feeling Vlad's King 10 would flop the best here. Let's see what happens. Nope.
7-4-4, ace high still good.
There goes one of the Queen 10s. And there goes the other Queen 10. Yeah, I think Vitkin's got a new favorite hand, Ace Jack.
Третий раз могу я на плохой открыться?
Мне тоже кажется, не можешь. Я король 10 раз закопал, не стал бы ставить.
Все правильно.
So, what do we know about Dmitry Vitkin? 35 years old. Just won $1.5 million. As you said, James, 10 cashes on our various tours. Now, were you at this Tallinn event?
No, I wasn't. Never got to go to Tallinn, sadly. Never did a live stream from there, but yes, he did make the final table in 2010, a 4th place finish.
4th place for 120,000 euros. That sounds like an overlay. That even figure right there. Maybe they did things differently back then.
Блайндов очень глубокий финалка получилась.
Не настраивался, мы играем пока 60 минут, час один.
Да, ничего не произошло, в общем-то.
А что должно зачем?
Вчера вон люди повылетали, мы только финалку организовали.
Уже кто-то мог пошел уже.
Gabriel asks, so someone playing on PokerStars has a chance on making these kinds of tournaments? Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point.
Сходил.